We got to do everything we can to provide the oversight to make sure they're continuing to find these people. But Laura, this is the open borders crowd. These are the same people that the globalists that suppress free speech. They don't believe in those things. They don't believe in borders. They think they're arbitrary lines on maps, and they use our taxpayer dollars to fly them in here illegally, and we need to get them out of here.
I say that if the guy's a criminal, get him up out of here. You send him to El Salvador, Mexico, Venezuela, Ecuador, just get him up. I don't care if you walk him to the border where you got to step his toe over the line and you kick him in the ass so that they're no longer inside of the United States. And boo-bye.
Well, the Supreme Court, in an unsigned order, essentially allowed a lower court order that said, from Judge Boasberg, now you got to bring that deported El Salvador illegal alien back to the United States, can't remain in that supermax prison. Well, the court essentially said, you got to facilitate it. So that just broke before the show. Joining me now, Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt. Senator, well, here we go. We got a massive problem with illegal immigration in the United States. The voters made it clear they wanted Donald Trump to do something about it. Donald Trump tries to take measures, sometimes, I guess, extraordinary measures to keep us safe. And yet the courts say, no, we're going to step in as the commander in chief and essentially do your job.
Well, I think that it's important to give context here, Laura, as this is breaking. I just had a chance to review the order before coming on your show, and it's very limited. This guy is deportable. This guy is a gang member. He is an MS-13 member, and they can deport him. They just couldn't deport him to El Salvador, evidently. So at the end of the day, this guy's going to be gone, and he should be gone, and there are hundreds of thousands more like him. This mass deportation effort, the American people, as you said, voted for this. We need more of it. And Judge Boasberg was slapped down earlier this week when he tried to intervene in the core Article 2 powers of the President of the United States. So as all these cases make their way through, the president's well within his authority to do it. In this specific example that just happened here, he's going to get deported, and he should. It just will be somewhere else other than El Salvador.
So he'll be brought back to the United States, kept in immigration custody, presumably, and then deported to his home country? You think that's how it's going to work?
So actually, he's from El Salvador. He had a credible claim under the Biden administration for asylum under evidently a threat from another gang, but he is a hardened criminal. So they can deport him because he's deportable. I mean, this is how ridiculous all this is. He's deportable. They will deport him somewhere else that they just can't actually deport him to El Salvador. So either way, the Trump administration is going to continue this effort. And like I said, there are over 1 million people here with criminal backgrounds and on the terrorist watch list that the Biden administration let in, whether through a goofy asylum process where they gave them a court date 10 years later, or through this parole process. Either way, they were just trying to allow as many people to come here illegally, 15 to 20 million. So this is going to be methodical. The good news is border crossings are down 95%, but there's a lot more work to do on these actual deportations.
Well, it also broke right before the show, and Doge was tweeting this out as well, that apparently there are 6,300 individuals who were paroled into the United States. That's their only legal status, is that Biden's people thought, oh, let's bring in these people. It turns out these individuals were, of the 6,300 I'm talking about, not the overall graphic, but these individuals were actually on an FBI terrorist watch list. So 6,300 should not have been brought in here, but there was no vetting. So they were on this FBI terror tracking list. So again, this is what we're learning now about what Biden did to America.
Well, it's worse than that, because these are just the people we know about who were paroled. There's literally tens of thousands of others that came in here illegally on the gotaways. But in this example, it just goes to show the abuse of the Biden administration. The parole process is supposed to be individualized, right? An individual case seeking to come here, somebody wanting to come here, maybe here temporarily, and then they go home eventually, right? Biden used this to parole people from entire countries and kept extending that, violating the law. So this is, again, all this kind of two-step that they used to flood this country through mass migration, through the NGOs who are being funded by USAID. This whole thing is a disaster. But President Trump is bringing order out of the chaos here, and the deportations are going to continue. But this is just another example, Laura. These people came here illegally. They were given parole. They should have been individualized. They weren't individualized, and now they're receiving government benefits. They need to be cut off and sent back.
Yeah, well, again, the Customs and Border Protection, they're getting to the bottom of these hundreds of thousands of people who were flown into the United States. Yeah. Okay, they weren't here. They were flown into the United States, which a lot of Americans don't understand. But again, just so far, they found 6,300 of them on this FBI terrorist screening list. Yep, I mean, this can't even, we're beyond the Supreme Court, guys. We're beyond the Supreme Court. We're on this. I think Americans have to understand just how endangered our country is, not just by the economic waste, fraud, and abuse, but by potential terrorists who are just living amongst us. Senator, will the U.S. Senate conduct hearings into this particular issue?
Absolutely, we should. And we got to do everything we can to provide the oversight to make sure they're continuing to find these people. But Laura, this is the open borders crowd. These are the same people that the globalists that suppress free speech. They don't believe in those things. They don't believe in borders. They think they're arbitrary lines on maps, and they use our taxpayer dollars to fly them in here illegally, and we need to get them out of here.
I say that if the guy's a criminal, get him up out of here. We have been helping people grow online. It has been absolutely amazing. We have helped many content creators get from zero to monetization in under 30 days. We even have a couple of these superstars who did it in 1 or 2 weeks. If you want to learn how to do YouTube, I don't care your age, I don't care what skills or talents you have. Trust me, I can help you do it effortlessly. Just reach out to me with the word coach and we can get it done. One more thing. We have a YouTube course that I just now created. I'm extremely proud of, and a lot of people are getting so much from. Purchase that course and work with us. You can join our private Facebook group and our daily group calls, which is 3 to 5 days per week, and you can learn so much more than you've ever learned before. I can't wait to hear from you. Love you. Peace. I don't give a damn you send them to El Salvador, Mexico, Venezuela, Ecuador. I don't give a damn. Just get him up. I don't care if you walk him to the border where you got to step his toe over the line and you kick him in the ass so that they're no longer inside of the United States. And boo-bye. That's what I say. You know, I don't care. He can go right outside the gate where he can peek in. He can look inside of the U.S., just can't get in. Instead of there being a wall, there should be like a glass, like a really thick glass, unbreakable glass, right? So people can be able to look in, but not get in. That's what I say. That way his wife can go to the wall and she can see him and they can touch the glass. You know, like when you go to visit somebody in prison. Some of y'all may not know anybody in prison, but I think if they would have called me and said, "Hey, Van," and I would say, "What's going on, Mr. President?" He would say, "Hey, Van, look, check this out, man. We trying to come up with ideas for these immigrants when we kick them out of the country. You got any ideas, brother?" "Oh yeah, thank you for calling me, Mr. President. I was just thinking about this glass idea I came up with. I was about to patent it, but since you called me, I'm gonna let you get first go at the idea. All right, so Mr. President, this is what I'm thinking. We could put like a thick plexiglass, you know, around our border. That way we kick the illegal immigrants out, but they can still see everything that they can't partake in. They can still see their family members who are legal. They can still see us having parades and bar mitzvahs. They can see us having parties. They can see us doing line dances. They can see us having barbecues and eating ribs and chickens and cornbreads and snacks. They can see us playing jump rope. They can see us playing hopscotch. They can see us, you know, doing everything. They can even peek through our windows while we're making love. But the thing is, they can't come over here. And if their family wants to see them, they can still see them. They don't need no binoculars, no nothing. They can just go down to the wall, put their hand on the plexiglass, and they can just breathe and show each other love. And they can still have that connection, Mr. President. What you think? What you think, Mr. President? You think that's a good idea? All right. I think we should get it started then. Yeah. And you won't need a whole lot of money. I'm thinking this will be far cheaper than a daggone wall. How many times you see somebody climbing the glass wall? You can't climb glass. With concrete, you can find little divots to put your toenails in, your fingernails in. You can put up a daggone ladder, all that. You try to climb up a glass, you're going to slide on your ass. What you think about that? That's a slogan for it too. Climb up the glass, slide on your ass. Yeah. No problem, Mr. President. Look, I'm here to protect and serve. I'm here to serve. No problem. All right. Make America great again. All right. I'll talk to you. I'll holler. Tell JD I say what's up. All right. You crazy son or what? You wild. All right, Mr. President. I'll holler at you, President. Boom. Fixed it. Immigration issue done. LFR family plexiglass.